Welcome to Sacred Tea. I'm Phil, and I'm here to share what I've learned, what I'm still learning, and what I'm leaving behind for my son and anyone else the universe decides to send this way. So if you want to create your dream life, manifest with purpose, heal genuinely, or simply live a life that feels really good, you're in the right place. So let's get into it. So last night, I received a download. Probably asking yourself, what is a download? So a download is basically um, an intuitive message that you receive from source, God, spirit, your higher self, and most times it's received suddenly, spontaneously, and usually late at night. Okay, you know, I guess some people would call it the witching hour, but it's not something you figure out. It's kind of something like you remember, or you feel real deeply. Um, and sometimes they show up like a knowing that didn't really come from logic, or a message that you just get during like meditation, stillness, or even prayer. Speaking of prayer, that was one of the downloads I got. Probably going to be talking about this over the next several weeks because so much information. And when I thought about prayer and what it meant to actually pray, and I had a friend and we were talking about what she believed prayer was and how she believed that it was helpful and helpful to her and helpful for anyone else who had like challenges in their lives and really wanted to get like divine assistance and guidance and so on. And I felt like, you know, prayer is not helpful. I feel like we all have lessons that we're meant to learn. God is not setting you out there on a mission that you cannot handle. And I feel like prayer is a breakdown of your faith. Or that's how I felt. And I sat there and I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. And, I'm thinking like, hey, all it's going to do is delay your progress, right? And, the lessons you're supposed to learn. And I was trying to explain to her like, hey, like think about somebody who has bad money management, right? They're just horrific with money. And every time, it's time for them to hit rock bottom, because that's probably the lesson that they need to learn, is what it feels like to be tossed out on the street with all your stuff because of your poor management skills. But then this person is praying for help, right? And so now instead of them just hitting rock bottom, getting to the lesson, learning that and moving on, now we've dragged other people into this, lesson process to lessen the blow of needing money and not having money and not doing what you needed to do to ensure that you had the money and making good and smart decisions, okay? And so you go out there and they're praying, and then this person comes along to assist them. And so maybe this person goes ahead and say, all right, you're behind on your rent, $1,000. Here's $1,200. That should get you squared away, and you should be good. And then guess what this person does? Shows their skills of not having money management together even more so. Because now they went and they spent the money at, I don't know, the strip club, at the bar, went out to eat, went on a trip, okay? So you're still in the same position, but now you've wasted somebody else's $1,200 trying to assist you. And so then they go out there and they say, oh, I don't have the money anymore. And then they go back and they pray again. Oh, let me pray, pray, pray. God help me. God help me get, my rent paid. And then someone else comes along and said, hey, there's this program down at the church. They're going to help you pay your rent. All you got to do is fill out some paperwork, show them some pay stubs, show them your bank account or whatever. You do all these things and then voila, they're going to give you the money to pay your rent. And so, yeah, there's more, involved. Now they don't, all they had to do was give someone a sob story and they got the $1,200 from before. But now, they're going to go ahead and have to give all this information. They got to go through the hassle of finding someone to help them pull their pay stubs off and, putting together their bank statements. Maybe they got to go down to the bank and go get the bank statements and, go to this church, maybe sit in a line, stand in a line. So now everybody's looking at them like, oh, this person can't pay their rent, and have to go through that embarrassment or shameful process of getting the rent paid. And then they go ahead and they say, all right, cool. Here's $995, what you need to pay your $1,000 rent. And then they go and they spend it on something that is not rent. They said, okay, well, I need a car, so I'm going to go pay my car note now. Or, I needed food to eat, so now I'm going to go ahead and, take this money and buy groceries or whatnot. And my whole point was, if the goal of the lesson is for you to hit rock bottom, the point of praying to help you not hit rock bottom seems pointless to me when you just need to go through it. Trust and have faith and belief that everything's going to be fine because this is part of what you need to do. This is what you need to learn in order to, help your soul grow. And so, but then she was like, well, isn't prayer like talking to God? And I was like, yeah, I guess you got me there. Like, yeah, it's talking to God. But then what I notice is that when people are talking to God, or they say they're talking to God, it's like they just rattling off a list of demands, okay? Like, oh, I need a new car, and I know you're going to bless me with a new house, and, that new house would sure look good if I had some beautiful furniture to put in there, and yada, 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 yada. I mean, just a long list of demands, right? And that's when it kind of clicked for me that prayer is not these one-off events that we're doing, right? We're not doing a one-off event. We're not the prayer closet warriors where we're running into the closet. We're going to go ahead and we're going to pray for everything under the sun. Every thought and every word that you speak is a prayer. You're constantly praying. And you got to be mindful of what you're putting out there, because to be more in alignment with God, you have to move that way. Your thoughts have to match the actions. The actions have to match, what you're putting out there. Your feelings and everything has to match, okay? And we all know that once you have a certain amount of momentum going in either direction, okay, whether, you are in desperation or you feel powerless or whatnot, or despair, okay, that has the same momentum, the same strong momentum as, appreciation, joy, empowerment, love. Like, all of those have the same frequency. So when you're doing when you're speaking, right, and you're speaking from a place of despair, oh, I'm not going to be able to pay my rent, oh, I don't know what's going to happen, I'm going to be on the street. You are putting that more out there. It's just putting it out there, and it's gathering momentum. The same as if you're like, oh, man, I just love my new car, and I just love the seats and everything, and so on and so forth. You're just putting all of this momentum into it, having a better looking car, a prettier car, or momentum into not having the rent money that you're supposed to need, despair with whatnot, and then you're wondering why things aren't necessarily working out because you're on that frequency. You're on that frequency. So that's why they were like, you got to make sure that you are super mindful about what you are putting out there, because the more in alignment you are with God, the better things will work out. The easier these lessons will roll off your back and you get to move on to something that's a little bit more You know, interesting, fun. So if this has resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this moment of reflection too. And if you want to be a part of the conversation, send in your voice note. Your story might be the next one we sip on together. So, well, until then, stay grounded, stay open, stay sacred, and sip slow.